Hello again, everyone. Zack Attack is here with my number 2 pick of my top 5 favorite Wrestlemanias countdown. I've been getting down to the nitty gritty now, boy. Of course, recap, my number 5 pick was Wrestlemania 25. Number 4 favorite mania was Wrestlemania 18. I was at both those manias, 18 and 23. Number 3 pick was Wrestlemania 14. And my number 2 pick, I didn't go to this one, I wasn't born yet. But my parents went to this one. They were two of a lucky 90,000 people who went to this WrestleMania. Yep, my number 2 favorite WrestleMania is WrestleMania 3. Of course, from the Pontiac Silverdome on March 29, 1987. Now, I picked this one at number 2 just because of the huge historical significance of it. And just the magnitude of it, just the spectacle of it being in a big stadium. By this time, WWE, of course WWF, had kind of peaked with WrestleMania 1 being a big success with the Rock and Wrestling connection. And they were still getting big draws, especially with Saturday Night's Main Event airing at the time, being one of the first major network shows of wrestling in prime time. But WrestleMania 3 took it to a whole new level, selling out 93,000 people. 90,173 to be exact, which was until recently the undisputed indoor attendance record. Now this mania, just because of its magnitude. Now the matches, most of the matches on here were mostly filler matches, but there was 2 matches, of course, that everybody and I remember. One for its great moment, which the match wasn't that memorable, just because of the moment. Of course, the slam hold around the world. And probably one of my favorite WrestleMania matches of all time was also in this mania. Of course, the filler matches, you had, there were some fun matches in this mania. You had Roddy Piper against Adrian Adonis in their handshake match. It was mostly just a comedy matchup. Especially, it kind of kick-started Buddha's Beefcake to adopt the barber gimmick. Of course, Buddha was a heel at the beginning of this, but during a match with the Dream Team with him and Greg Hammertime and Dino Valentine, did I say Greg Hammertime? Greg Valentine and Dino Bravo, they kind of turned their backs on Brutus, and then Brutus came out to shave Adonis' head after Piper beat him. And there was even a little person match, a midget match with King Kong Bundy and the Jim teaming up with some little people. And even Alice Cooper showed up with Jason Lee Roberts. But 2 matches that make this mania memorable. Of course, Hulk and Andre. Now, the match itself isn't memorable at all. It's like watching Kane and Khali wrestle each other. Or any big guy who can't move that much against a little guy who can't move that much anyway. Like Big Show against Kane is another example. And Khali and Kane and anyway, just the match itself was not that memorable. But just the moment of Hulk Hogan slamming Andre, just that moment and the way they were building this feud up, and the way they were building Hogan as the underdog in this, because Andre had an undefeated streak at the time. That moment just defined wrestling with that moment of Hulk Hogan slamming Andre. Just that moment, the slam heard around the world. One of the greatest moments in wrestling history. Hogan and Andre had wrestled before at Shea Stadium back in 1980, but never under this big of a stage, at WrestleMania 3. But of course, the best match of this mania, it probably will be considered, and I would say this as well, probably one of the greatest wrestling matches of all time. Randy Savage, Macho Man Randy Savage, against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat for the Intercontinental Championship. Probably in my top 5 favorite matches of all time. I can watch this match, and it just enthralls me every time. Just the way it was done. And now you watch matches today, and interference ruins matches. Back then, there was little or no interference at all. And there was interference in this match with George the Animal still getting involved. But it didn't ruin the match. It did not spoil the match, as other interferences would spoil matches now. Like, you look at matches now, the interferences spoil the matches. Like, for what happened in TNA Knockdown. That's another story, but anyway. Savage and Steamboat was just back and forth action, near fall to near fall. Just great move. The ring bell was even used by Macho Man, or at least trying to be used after Animal got involved in that situation. So that match is just a classic match. Just a classic match. It's a match against Steamboat and Savage. Like I said, probably my top 5 favorite matches of all time. And we also, I'm going to say this right now, Steamboat and Savage will be included in one of my forthcoming countdowns. I'm doing a top 5 favorite WrestleMania matches. So that match will be on that list. And that list will be coming in about 2 weeks. Because next week is the top 5 least favorite manias. Before I get to my list of top 5 least favorite manias, I can tell you my number 1 favorite mania of all time. But you gotta wait till tomorrow to find out what my number 1 mania is. And thank you very much for watching this. With that in mind, you've all been attacked by the continuing countdown from Zach. See you tomorrow for my number 1 favorite mania of all time. See ya. Yeah.